Good evening, Nanda. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as World Marbles Day. In US, World Marbles Day is celebrated every year on Good Friday, and this year it is celebrated on March 29th. This day commemorates the first British Marbles Championship that took place in England in 1588, competing for the hand of Milk Maiden in Tinsley Green. Two young suitors engaged in a contest of marbles to decide who would win her fair hand. Ever since, the game of marbles has morphed into an annual championship that even after several centuries still takes place in Tinsley Green, England. Now teams from other parts of the world travel to England to participate in this game. The first British Marbles Championship was held in the Tinsley Green, England in 1588. Legend has it that two men, Giles and Hodge, vying for the hand of a milk maiden called Joan, decided to compete against each other in all known sports. After competing in various sports over the course of 1 week, the game of marbles was chosen as the final contest to decide the winner. Sales won the game. By the 1700s, a marbles tournament was being held every year in Tinsley Green. Around the year 1900, the game suffered a loss of popularity, but was eventually revived in 1932. The name was eventually changed from British Marbles Championship to the British and World Marbles Championship in 1938. Also known as ringer or ringer toss, the game is played with 49 marbles inside a ring. Two opposing teams made up of 6 players each take turns using larger marbles called shooters to knock other marbles out of the ring. The team that successfully knocks out the highest number of marbles is a winner. Until 1962, clay marbles were used, but this changed as glass marbles came into use. Today, the marbles tournament is still held at Tinsley Green, England. For a long time, only British teams participated and won. But in 1992, the 10 key sharpshooters from Tennessee and Kentucky, US became the first overseas team to win the trophy. Ever since, teams from Australia, Belgium, France, Estonia, Japan, Germany, the Netherlands, Wales, and the US travel to participate. Marbles is not an event at the Olympics yet. The highest governing body for marbles is the British Marbles Board of Control, in short known as BMBC. Several countries have their own national marble championships. It's Easter, gather your loved ones together and have a marbles party. The winner gets a break from washing dishes or something that can be exciting or relieving. There are tons of videos of championship available. So watch clips online. You can participate from wherever you are. So there are 5 rules for playing marbles. First step is to create a 6-foot diameter ring where the marbles will be stationed either by using a string or drawing a circle on the floor. Count out marbles. The game must be played with 49 small marbles and one larger marble to be used for shooting. Third, select your teammates. The standard number of players is 6 per team, but if you have less, that's okay. Take turns. Each team must take turns attempting to knock marbles out of the ring. Choose a winner. Finally, when all the marbles have been knocked out of the ring, the team with the most marbles wins the game. We love Marbles Day because it's a fun, interesting game and it's a great way to wind down after a stressful day. Because the tournament is played by teams of 6, it bolsters team spirit. Team members learn to trust and support each other. Best of all, everyone gets an opportunity to shine. Marbles is a no contact sport, meaning that players don't have to directly touch each other. Neither do they have to handle the marbles. Today is also commemorated as Texas Loves the Children Day in US. The state of Texas, to support victims of child abuse, acknowledge their trauma and work towards ending child abuse in the state. Child abuse refers to the physical, sexual, or mutual mistreatment of children, which can range from neglect to assault. The state of Texas sets a daily aside to address these issues to help children suffering from abuse, as well as help adults who have been affected by the abuse in their lives. Texas Loves the Children is a day observed in Texas, the US, to commemorate victims of child abuse, raise awareness about the issue, and spread information about how to help children who are suffering. This day is also an opportunity for the professionals working to rescue and rehabilitate children to share their knowledge on how to recognize victims and their methods for helping them. Child abuse, sometimes called child maltreatment, refers to the physical, sexual, and psychological abuse of children, which can be manifested in terms of assault and neglect. It may also refer to the instances when parents are unavailable, refuse to, or fail to act to help children when they are suffering in some way. Cruelty to children has been a common customary activity across the world. Over time, people developed more awareness as they studied the defenseless of children, how they were affected by abuse, and how they transformed when placed in spaces of safety. Soon, the study of child abuse emerged as a discipline, and children's rights began to be understood as an important aspect that needed attention and study. The greater investigation is taking place today about how the children are seen in the society and how their powerlessness is exploited by society for its gains. More and more, corporal punishment is seen as an abuse even if it is intended as a method of teaching children, and the injury and the harm caused don't teach children anything except fear. Child abuse can cause physical and psychological developmental issues that develop into chronic conditions that affect adults long after they have been removed from abusive spaces. Forensic medical expert Auguste Ambrosis Radio notes and observes the adverse effects of child abuse in multiple cases in 1860s. The presence of child abuse as a worldwide problem is established as an evidence of an abuse and its effects emerge in 1900s. Awareness of child abuse. becomes a mainstream as a greater number of people become aware of maltreatment of children across the country. The study of child abuse becomes a formal academic field of study in America in 1970s. So neglect is the most common form of child abuse. There are over 6 lakh cases of child abuse in the US almost every year. Accidental abuse is usually enacted from a place of ignorance and very subtle. An important aspect of Texas Loves the Children's Day is making people aware of the problem. More people who know about the issue will be able to watch out for the signs of abuse. There are numerous signs of abuse that doctors and caregivers can look out for. Make a list of these and share them with the adults who interact with children regularly. Invite people who have suffered from child abuse to share their experience in a talk. Start a discussion about the adverse effects of the child abuse in the country. The majority of reported cases have victims between 5 and 11 years old. It is estimated that 1 in 7 children have been abused across the country. Children below 1 year of age are the most vulnerable to abuse, with the most reported fatalities. In over 70% of cases, the child abuse, the abusers are the parents of children. 5 children die per day as a result of child abuse. We think that people don't understand how common child abuse is. We want to help sensitize people to the prevalence of this issue. We think that child abuse affects lives forever. We want to support the survivors of child abuse in any way that we can. We want more people to call out abuse, stand for the children. We know that children can't advocate for themselves, so we want to help them out. Today is also commemorated as Payday It Forward. It is observed across the world as an opportunity to be kind to young black men, support them, treat them like human beings. Payday It Forward is a day that comes about a result of growing concern among communities over how young black boys and men were being unfairly targeted. The day aims to address racism and offset the demanding effects of being treated criminally by asking people to go out of their way and to be kind to young black boys and men and treat them with dignity and respect. It is named after a young black boy who was killed by the police in an act of police aggression that is yet to be justified. Paler James Daniels, nicknamed Payday by his friends, had just turned 18 when he was murdered, and his mother Paula long dedicated this day to all young black boys and teenagers in his memory. 3 men were charged with first-degree manslaughter for Payday murder, but while justice has been served, there are hundreds of young black boys, teenagers, and men who are being targeted for racial violence. Paula Long formed the Payday Foundation and instituted the Payday It Forward Day to encourage people to get to know the young black boys and men in their neighborhood and offer them support. Long asked people to stop overlooking teenage black boys and look past in their hoodies. He asked adults to try and understand that, like other people, black teenagers have preferences in clothing and walk in a certain way based on what they think is cool and not because they are trying to be aggressive. This day is also an opportunity for people to check into their neighborhood kids and support them through any difficulties they might be having. Long encourages people to break through their stereotypes so they can see the young black boys who they are. Racism against young black children is strong and they are shown as bait for the alligators in 1900s. More and more videos appear where black people and men in particular are unfairly targeted for what is presented as aggressive behavior in 2000s. PJ Daniels, known as Payday to his friends, is killed when he is pushed out of a moving vehicle in 2010. The Payday Foundation is established in 2019 by Paula Long P.J. Daniels' mother, institutes a foundation in her son's honor to support and encourage young black boys and men. So, challenging stereotypes can help save black lives. People create stereotypes to make life easier, and racism has resulted in black men being stereotyped as a threat. There is substantial evidence of how children of color are stereotyped by adults. So reach out to the black boys in the neighborhood just to check in on them, support them, and express your willingness to help if they ever need anything. Work with community leaders to organize a seminar around the mistreatment of black teenagers. Make sure you get the teenagers in your community to speak. Black boys are often seen as threats to public safety for no reason, especially if they happen to be tall. A lot of people like to believe that young black boys have no emotions and that they never smile or feel anything. Black boys are treated like adults when they make a mistake with adult consequences instead of irregular ones, being perceived as adults. Black boys and teenagers are judged on what they wear and often dismissed as being uncouth or rude. In schools, black boys and teenagers are most likely to be reprimanded for disrespect when teachers misinterpret their silence or expressions. We hate that young children are suffering because of racist stereotyping. We want to do everything we can to help show our support. We don't understand where stereotypes even come from. We want to help people break the barrier and stereotypes and see young black boys for who they are. We want to help young black boys feel unseen, feel seen and heard. We want to create a safe space where they can be themselves. So today we are also commemorating Niagara Falls Runs Day. This day commemorates the time Niagara Falls ran dry due to ice blockages in 1848. The waterfalls continued to stay blocked for 2 days. The day aims to celebrate the extraordinary event that took place spanning from Ontario, Canada to New York, United States. Niagara Falls Run Dry Day festivities usually involve offers from establishments near the falls and celebration parties. Niagara Falls has never naturally dried up since. Niagara Falls formed over 12,000 years ago at the end of the Ice Age when the downpour of the water from melting ice wore away brick layers to form the structure that exists today. The first people to witness the falls were most likely the Native Americans living in the regions surrounding the Horseshoe Falls. The area was later annexed by the French when Father Louis Hennepin reached the Niagara River in December 1678. Niagara Falls Runs Dry Day celebrates March 29, 1848, the day when a bitterly harsh winter gave way to ice on Lake Erie, which gradually broke away. Strong winds drew the ice to the mouth of the falls, thus suspending the flow of water for over 30 hours. Some of the first to notice unusual event were nearby mill owners who realized that their water wheels had stopped rotating. Soon hordes of people inched their way to the falls to witness the odd event. They were able to witness for the first time since the forming of the Niagara Falls absolute silence in place of roaring waterfall. Several people ventured across the riverbed, finding old ammunition used in the Battle of Chippewa in 1840. At night, hundreds of people reportedly made the trek across the riverbed with lit torches in their hands. Niagara Falls remained dry until afternoon of March 30, when the winds reversed their direction and everything returned to the way it was. So in 1969, the drying up of waterfall was done artificially to allow geological work. Waterfalls can exist even underwater. The tallest waterfall is Angel Falls in Venezuela, and the waterfall with the biggest flow rate is in Inga Falls in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Waterfalls are formed through the process of erosion. Waterfalls are typically higher in a stream. So the temporary drying up of Niagara Falls was a surreal event. This day serves as an important reminder of the day. Waterfalls are fascinating. Use this day as an opportunity to learn more about them. And few individuals are aware of the current so much less than it was even impossible or possible. The day broadens one's knowledge. So today is also commemorated as National Vietnam War Veterans Day in US. As we commemorate those who fought in the Vietnam War on National Vietnam War Day, there is no doubt that the Vietnam War was one of the most brutal. In fact, there were over 3 million Vietnam War casualties during the years of the battle. It was known as the Second Indochina War to Americans, and considering its long fighting time and brutality, it was created to honor all the Vietnam veterans who fought during this time, commemorating this day. The Vietnam War has a long history. It was one of the longest wars involving America. Starting in 1955, the war went on until 1975, making it the second largest war aside from ongoing Afghanistan war. Over 2.7 million Americans served during this war in 1973. All combat and support units withdraw from Vietnam following the war, but it continued to have an impact on many of the families and people affected by the war. National Vietnam War Veterans Day is acknowledged on March 29th every year, honoring anyone who served during its 20-year time. Since respect and combat support wasn't immediately given to those who served after the war ended, because the number of deaths, the day was founded in 2017 to finally offer that respect to everyone involved. Understanding that it wasn't the soldiers' choices to go to the war, US Senators Pat Toomey, Arpe, and Joe Donnelly D. introduced the legislation proposing the anniversary of the withdrawal of military units from South Vietnam as the date. It was President Donald Trump who signed the act on March 29, calling for US flags to be flown on this day to honor everyone who served during this time, whether they were in Vietnam or not. So, ever since it was founded in 2017, National Day has continued to be recognized on March 29. Aside from honoring those who fought, four other parts of the day that are meant to be highlighted are the service of armed forces and support organizations during the war, the wartime contributions at home, the advancements in technology, science, and medicine, and the contribution by the American allies. Today is also commemorated as National Smoke and Mirrors Day in US. It is most likely intended to promote appreciation of the art and skill of magicians who specialize in illusions and to remind us all to be wary of deceptive practices in daily life. Smoke and mirrors usually means that they were being hoodwinked into believing something is true or that it is functional when it really is not. It's a reminder that unlike Dorothy, we shouldn't wait until the end to pull back the curtain to see if we thought it is real. It's actually masterful fake. Magic, the unseen, and the unknown are celebrated on Smoke and Mirrors Day on March 29. Skill, secrecy, and deception have been driving the practice of magical arts for centuries. Archaeologists have found the elementary cup and ball trick depicted on the wall of an Egyptian tomb. Priests were the main practitioners of the magic. In Pharaoh Egypt, where they were seen as guardians of secret knowledge given by the gods to humanity to ward off the blows of fate. Real lector priests performed magical rituals to protect their king and to help the dead to rebirth. But by the first millennium BC, their role seemed to have been taken over the magicians. Amulets were a source of magic power obtainable from protection makers who could be male or female. Metal bands representing the snake goddess, great of magic, were carried some practitioners of magic. So the classic technique of smoke and mirrors was in use by 1770s in Germany. Hona and Georg Scrofer manipulated these elements to make it appear that an entity was hovering in the air. Scrofer relied on a magic lantern, a primitive precursor of the slide projector, which paired a concave mirror with convex lenses and a candle for illumination to create images. Scrofer had established a breakaway Freemason lodge in Leipzig, founded on the assertion that only his group knew the true Masonic truth and only he could communicate with the spirit world. He bought a coffee house and renovated it as a venue where he held seances. After his death, other showmen carried on him for him, serving of what can be called phantasmagoria shows. These shows specialized in supernatural sensationalization. In 1865, a British academic created one of the most famous mirror tricks, the symphonic illusion, which was popularized by magician Colonel Stodare. The illusion claimed to reveal the disembodied head of a sphinx, which had been cursed by Pharaoh. The underpinning of the illusion is two contagious mirrors angled so that they reflect a surrounding background material, while the subject merely kneels behind with the head presented above the whole artifacts. The detached head appears to be float. These fundamental principles of reflection is still essential to deception. Today is also commemorated as National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day in US. They create economic growth and provide almost 70% of all new jobs in the country. That's why every year on March 29th, we acknowledge more than 27 million business in the country by celebrating National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day. The holiday was established by Rick and Margie Siegel in the honor of their parents and successful hat shop they have opened in 1939 and grew it in a 10,000 square foot, $2 million clothing shop. It is a special day to appreciate the long hours, hard work, and dedication it takes to run a small business. So on March 29, head to your favorite small business to say thank you. Today is also commemorated as National Lemon Chiffon Cake Day in US. Commemorates the sweetness of the flavorful light lemon cake that was invented by Harry Baker in 1927. Is there someone who doesn't love this very soft, spongy, yummy layer of cake? Maybe, probably not. Cake is the most cherished dessert by everyone of every age from everywhere. With so many different types and flavors, cakes fill the hearts of many with yummy warmth. Lemon chiffon cake is one of the most refreshing, fluffy spring cakes loved by people globally. The bright yellowish look and the blissful taste of lemon would certainly make your taste buds fall in love. The amazing lemon chiffon cake has a dedicated to it, and it's March 29th, so that next time life gives you lemons, make a lemon chiffon cake. Today is also commemorated as Merry Maid Day for the lovers of fable creatures that appeared in literature, mythology, music, films, and pop culture for a long time. It's a day to let one's imagination run wild and indulge one's fascination with this aquatic creature. It is true that they exist or it is a work of fiction. Whatever the solution, the ocean depths are filled with inexhaustible mysteries. It is simply the big unknown. It's now time to learn more about ancient origins, history, and cultural significance around the world. So, the first existence of mermaids in human culture traces back to 1000 BC in Assyria, now known as Syria. In their mythology, the fertility goddess Atargatis became a mermaid after throwing herself in the lake to escape the grief and shame of killing her lover. The mythology explores how Antargatis was so beautiful that she couldn't fully transform herself into a fish. Rather, she retained her feminine shape and beauty above the waist, but the legs were completely transformed into a fish tail. The Greek mythology that then expands to the story from the Assyrian myth, which included the stories of sea nymphs, also known as Nereids, and mermen, also known as tritons. The original Assyrian description of mermaids was manifested in the Greek sirens, but was rewritten as heavy wings like a bird rather than having a tail like fish. However, Romans trace the origin of the mermaids. The Greek mythology then expands to the story from the Assyrian myth, which included the stories of sea nymphs, also known as Nereids, and mermen, also known as tritons. The original Assyrian description of mermaids was manifested in the Greek sirens, but was rewritten as having wings like a bird rather than having a tail like fish. However, Romans trace the origin of the mermaids in Assyrian mythology by keeping their original description, gorgeous, fairly like women, with fishtails. This became the standard interpretation of mermaids up to modern times. It is also commemorated as Knights of Columbus Founders Day, which marks the Father Michael J. McGivney met with other Catholics who shared similar beliefs to form the order's first council in the basement of St. Mary's Church in New Haven, Connecticut. The order has to close to 2 million members in 16,000 councils and was created in response to hardships suffered by the poor. Catholics and Irish migrants, the Knights promote the Catholic view on certain controversial public policy issues, such as opposition to same sex marriage and abortion, and many. So today is also commemorated as commemoration of Buganda in Central Africa Republic. It is a national holiday there and aims at honoring Barthélemy Buganda, the nation's first prime minister, on the anniversary of his death. And today is also commemorated as Good Friday, the death of Jesus on Calvary, just outside the walls of Jerusalem, where Jesus was crucified. So it falls on Friday before Easter. So it is today, March 29. Most Christian denominations recognize Good Friday as a Holy Friday, and many, including members of Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, and Lutheran faiths, fasting and attending the churches revises, but there is so much more to this holiday than just these religious rituals. Eastern Orthodox and Lutheran faiths, fasting and attending church services, but there is much more. The crucifixion of Jesus Christ at the site of Calvary is commemorated on Good Friday, a Christian religious holiday taking place during Holy Week. Is considered part of the Paschal Freedom on Friday before Easter Sunday. The day is also widely known as Great Friday, Black Friday, or Holy Friday around the world. Good Friday is a national holiday in many countries, especially in Catholic and Anglican nations. Fasting is a traditional way to observe the Solomon Day, followed by somber processions. The exact origins of Good Friday were not known. Finally, the last commemoration, Ultra Music Festival, which is commemorated from March 29th to 31st in United States. It began as a little concert on the beach more than 2 decades ago and has grown into one of the world's largest musical celebrations, attracting the most famous electronic music artists worldwide to the shores of Biscayne Bay in Miami, Florida. Ultra Music Festival, which takes place in the sparkling environment of downtown Miami, has evolved into a platform for DJs and producers where you are likely to hear new songs from the first Ultra Music Festival, held on the shores of Miami Beach in 1999, was a culmination of a series of electronic music events with Russell Fabis serving as the festival CEO, chairman, and executive producer. In 2019, over 170,000 music fans packed the waterfront venue in the Miami for the sold out event. Ultra and Ultra Worldwide are the two world's largest and most successful independent electronic music festival brands, and they are also the world's most global music festival brands, having traveled to over 100 countries. Over 22 years, the Ultra Festival has held events in 26 cities and 29 countries, among others. The festival has been refining its strategy in Miami for more than 2 decades to deliver the most diverse electronic talents as well as the most technologically capable large scale festival production feasible. So, with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. And we'll move on to presentation by Mr. Pradeep.
Thank you, Ravindra sir.
Welcome, Pradeep.
Yes, full time, everyone. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen.
Yeah, it's visual. Please continue, Pradeep.
Yes. So hello everyone. So a very good evening to one and all. So today I'm going to present about the working animals and also the welfare measures in our country. So how many of you might be seen in roads or else like while you are commuting to any workplace or when you go to any spiritual place? So you might have seen these pictures, right? Like donkeys and mules and other walking animals carrying a lots of load, right? So this is one picture. So before going to the further, I just want you to observe the picture and tell your findings, like what you have noticed in the picture. Anyone from the participants?
Dear friends, feel free to share. We can see animals carrying a huge luggage. So
Incredible, sir. Uh, Please free to unmute yourself and say it's right or wrong. It's just an exchange of perspectives so that I can like uh, provide more information about it, and I can also understand that how like what you have gained from the picture. And it's nothing wrong or right. Also, you can say whatever it may be, but please feel free to unmute yourself. It's very important. So I just want to make it the presentation more engaging. So please feel free to unmute, or you can use the chat box also. Like if you are facing network issues, you can use the chat box. You can type it the response also. It's okay. Narendra Kumar, Mary, Mary Florence, uh, other participants.
maybe you can continue.
Okay, okay, fine. No problem. Uh, so as I have told you, like small activity. Okay, fine. So most of the things you might have observed from your perspective, mostly overloading. So most of the you have seen that condition, right? How the animal has been suffered and kept heavy loads, like it was not able to move but more than the required. It has kept, and he is unable to move it. And second thing is malnutrition because the animal doesn't have food. Maybe the owner haven't provided the food, or else the organizers who are taking care of the well-being of the animal also they can't provide the proper food and all. And mainly it is a suffering of the animal because keeping a prolonged heavy load something like a human being carrying a 10 kgs of weight, for example, you put 30 kgs on his shoulder, how he will, he or she will feel. The same thing applicable to the animals too. Um, we as a human being, we can able to express our emotions that we are having this problem, we are able to, like we are having this pain, so we can express through our mouth. But as an animals, they can express through their emotions only, they can't talk like a human being. And it is also a cruelty as per the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 and Dog Pact of Animals 1978 rules. So moving on to the next slide. So, as I said, that walking animals. So, walking animals are animals like maybe it may be kept in our homes, especially dogs, cattle. So maybe we seen it as a family members. Like it's in the good olden days. No, most of the times in if you go to villages also you can see that compassion and all. But now mostly it has become like a business oriented thing, and also at the same time what was lacking is the welfare measures. In this category of walking animals, you can see this equids, that means equinox, it comes on the horses, donkeys and mules. Mostly these are like we see it in Asian countries, the Middle East, India, Pakistan and China, and of course the central part of Central and South America and all. And the other category of the walking animals is ruminants, buffaloes, cattle. Let me say that cattle mostly you can say it in India, Indonesia, and like Asia Pacific. I'm saying, and also Malaysia. Camelite, when we actually call it as the camels, you can see in India and North Africa, Lamals and Andes. So these are things we actually see. And types of walking animals too, like you can see, especially elephants. Most of the time, if you are in India, you might have seen elephants used in tourism also and temples. A lot of the time, some follow a very compassionate measures, but most of the time they have been changed. They can't move from themselves, struggle a lot, and mostly dogs. So mostly they are used for transportation, hiding, guarding, and hunting purposes. Then we have narcotics environment, maybe another like law enforcement, police department, and military. They use the dogs for detecting explosives and drugs. And at the same time, there are service dogs like guard dogs we can use for human assistance, like people who are visually impaired and they are not able to move or like they need some assistance. So there are service dogs which like they are trained for the specific purposes. And so that's the thing. And wild animals, we can see that as I mentioned, like type 2, we have the wild animals like elephants, which have been like we've seen that the mahout is holding the stick and the chair, like how the animal is chained with the see how it feels and all. And you can observe in the picture. So lot of the times what it happened, the average like lifespan of an elephant are probably greater than the 60 years and not. But unfortunately, due to the cruel mechanisms which is being employed in the tourist spaces or also in the temple realm, I'm not talking about the cultural significance, but I'm seeing that the cruelty like they are being used. So many of the times it happens. And because of that, this lack well like basic necessities, the food, I mean the water, and also the conditions they have been kept, and also the mental and physical trauma they face. Like as a human being, we have the psychological well-being, right? But animals also do have this psychological well-being. They experience trauma, stress, pain, and all sort of emotional triggers. They all have that. So as per the sea that the laws in this and in like other countries and all, so, in wild normally in animals will live for 60 years and walk in sea in Cambodia and other places. We can see the tigers and they have been captured and some they have been uh, some kept in very like zoo type environment. That's resemblance that a natural environment. That's a different thing. But most of the time they are kept in a very cruel environment, cruelly. So in zoos they have a span of about 19 years. And this is a picture mostly which is a distressing like and at the same time any human practices which will happen especially due to the capital funds they have been captured at a very young age and they can be chained for long years. And what happens is like from very young age this like elephants, like the baby elephants, I would say, they have been tied with a small rope. Like they will see that, okay, it's been tied, so I can't move from here and all. Being such a giant, gentle giant, so like what happens is like as the time passes on, like when it grows into the an adult elephant, so the mouth controls him like keeping the like a snake and also like inhuman practices. You can see in the picture, right? How inhumanly the chain like it has been tied up. It's not able to move, and even like being tied up since it's a chain, they have it may be mostly rusted, so it will also have some wounds on the legs and which will develop into some infections, maggot wounds. So they are not able to move properly. At the same time, they suffer a lot, and because of their wounds, and some actually die because of their poor management or poor maintenance of the elephants and all. And according to the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, the capital elephants belong to the wild. They have to be in the wild, but unfortunately, they have been raising them mainly in the southern part of the states of India, Kerala, and many of the parts of the country. They use it for a tourism purposes, but Unfortunately, it's a very because we as in that 21st century, our technology has been developed. We are not using the traditional old agricultural practices no more. We have adopted sustainable practices. We are using AI, artificial intelligence. We are using many mechanisms. We are also nowadays we are getting the drones. We have been using for the sprinkling of the as like sowing in the seeds in the farm and all. But still nowadays also the farmers are using the bullock to cattle driving heavy loads. What was lacking is because of the lack of sensitization and also the measures from the government. So once the animals have been retired and all, they need to be properly taken care. They have to be provided sufficient food and nutrition. And if they are not able, the owner is not able to take care, maybe the animals can be handed over to the SPCA or else any because Society for Prevention of SPCA means Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or else they can hand over to the animal welfare organization as per that's an registered animal welfare organization as per the delayed by the guidelines of Animal Welfare Board of India. So and at the same time, since the owner has been dependent on the animal for his livelihood, so as a matter, the government of India might be they have included some policy changes, policy interventions, or in some initiatives instead of a bullock cart farming, they can use something in a and tracked or subsidized manner, not in a free because nowadays free will not get anything. So maybe subsidized amount from the farmers providing that will also help for the welfare of these working animals. So what are the solutions for the reducibility of working animals? One is improved education. The owner, because owners might be in a farmer, and he or she may not be have some such legal knowledge, and also also the welfare practices maybe due to the economic conditions. So economic conditions and they don't have that sufficient money to maintain them because of socio-economic inequalities. So these which actually uh, fails because of the maltreatment of the animals as what are the working animals they it may be. So it's first and foremost thing is we need to educate the owner, and second thing is tourism instead of going for animal tourism, maybe we can opt for sustainable thing. In Kerala, there is in the state of Kerala, they have installed a robotic elephant. So it's maybe such initiative is something like a robotic animal, a robotic horse. They can be employed in it because we actually can go on an electronic car. We need go for an electronic. There are many sophisticated technology has been done, but why we need to suffer animals for our pleasure and for our enjoyment? So everybody needs to be rethink about avoid joyrides because as the tourism, especially we can see the Jaipur, Kashmir Fort. So a lot of the times and like animals, especially elephants, have been used for the. So we as a conscious and a compassionate citizen, if we can reduce tourism, I mean joyrides when you're going for any tourist place, avoid going for an animal rides because these animals are treated very badly. When you see in Kedarnath, especially doggies and mules, they suffer a lot when because they carry a loads of luggage. This is one picture which I shared you earlier. This is the first picture. You can see this is taken from Kedarnath only. So you see lot of luggage has been put in this donkey. Donkeys earlier days we don't have the technology we don't have that proper technology to use and there is no transportation, everything nowadays which we have included, we have road connectivity, rail connectivity, we have airplane connectivity. So and moreover in the tourist spots also we have the helicopter facility. We have many of the facilities. So being a citizen of India and being we talk about humanity. We talk about humane practices, sustainable practices. We talk about it. So being a citizen of India and moreover as a law-abiding citizen, according to the Constitution of India, Article 51 AG talks about it shall be the fundamental duty of every citizen to have compassion towards all living creatures, taking into the context. So everyone needs to, when you go for a tourism, it's as a moral responsibility, you need to avoid these joyrides and also teaching children, educating them. See, we need to never harm the animals. So maybe we can go for we can see them. So teach them the compassion at the right age. So you can then only they can go for as a future citizen of India. If you go for a joyrides and you see it means your child will also learn from that. It's a learned behavior. So thing is that try to reduce it and there's a quote by Wayne Gerard and Trotman. So he's a philosopher, and he actually says that societies that lack respect for animals eventually lose respect for human beings. So we, as a citizens, let's do our duties as a fundamental duties. We need to take care of the animals, and let's end the cruelty of like working animals by taking sustainable steps and the welfare measures. As I said, the change always starts with us. So taking an actionable steps that comes by like providing joy rides, tourism places, witness any cruelty, informing to the local and law enforcement authority or local land authority. Like if you are in a like if you go for any temples, like a hill station or you can inform to the temple management. This is the animal is having a lot of suffering and he is not able to walk. So please, so maybe you can report to the management, or else if they are not able to take care of an action, you can go to the like the police. You can report to them. So what and also, if you are like then you can inform to the local animal welfare organization. If there is a lack of animal welfare organization at at the city, maybe you can oppose DSPCS that is SPCS. So can inform to them. You can take a legal action. Also, you can also write a letter to the district collector or magistrate, since he is a first-class district magistrate. So you can also say that. So, citizen, I feel this is the suffering of the animal. So so taking into the animal welfare consideration and also at the same time taking into the people who work on the like who takes livelihood on these animals. So please provide an alternate assistance for them. Maybe such sort of policy intervention you can meet your local MP or MLA or whoever it may be. So ask them this, take a representation, talk to them. So hopefully cruelty can one day will be reduced, but change always starts within us. So hoping that one day it will be a positive day for everyone. And thank you, Ravindra sir, for giving this opportunity. And thanks a lot, sir, for making this question.
Thank you, Pradeep, for your insightful presentation. Participants, if you have any queries, you can feel free to ask. I know today it got delayed, and so that may be the reason very few have joined. But it's okay. These are available live on YouTube. You can, whenever you want, you can go there and check the details and check the complete presentation over there. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations and sessions, and we'll join tomorrow at the same time with the same link. And on March 31st, we have one-day international seminar starting at 11 a.m. So those who have missed their opportunity of presentations can utilize register for this day and make presentations from 11 a.m. onwards till the last presenter is available. Then we'll resume valedictory at 6 p.m. with any presentations left out, along with some eminent invited speakers addressing the gathering. So the registration forms have been already floated through email address and on social media. You can check the registration forms and register for participation or presentation as applicable. And also the World Social Work Day or week month quiz, which has been floated, is you can attempt the quiz if not attempted. And the quiz is live and you can fill it up till 31st. Even after that also you can fill, no need to worry. All the certificates of 1 week conference and the upcoming one-day conference and the certificate for quiz, all will be issued all at once. So in the next 2 days. In the meanwhile, those who have not completed formalities, like first formality is to register, second is to present or participate, then provide feedback. So if these three things have not completed by you, we request to complete. And for presenter, there is an additional requirement of sharing your photograph and PPT along with a brief summary, which goes into the publication part. So there was a format circulated to your email address. So we request everyone to strictly complete them. Only then certificates will be issued. So we request everyone, even for the 1 week conference and for the upcoming one-day seminar, to follow the guidelines carefully and complete them before 31st or 1st of April. Because once certificates are generated, again, it will be difficult for us to reissue certificates. So we request, we have given enough time for everyone to complete. So with still some time is there. You complete all the details and the same format goes on. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we'll be sending the same format even for one day, those who have registered for one day seminar. So request everyone to quickly respond, check your mails. We have seen many are not checking mails immediately. That is also one delay. And we have also floated, as some people have requested, WhatsApp group. We also created a WhatsApp group, but many haven't joined. Not even 10% of them have joined WhatsApp group. So these facilities are provided to you on your request for your convenience. So make utilize of the resources, be aware of the resources and try to complete them in time. Otherwise, we have to wait. We'll give certificates, but at what time later on, it depends on our availability and feasibility. So it might take days, weeks, months also. So better you always complete in time. That is your responsibility to ensure that you are complying with all the rules and regulations of the platform and to get your certificates in time. So follow the instructions carefully, complete them in time. We have observed still some people have to submit their feedback forms and there are discrepancies in attendance also. They have attended with other name. So we have manually also checked some certificates, the final data, there is discrepancy in the people attended and the system generated data. So those who have not filled the feedback are requested to fill the feedback immediately, and those who have not shared their details, presentation details with the specific format. And we observed some people are just sending like that. That is not uh, considered as a valid submission, because even from the email, system picks up the data. That's why we have given format. System automatically picks, reads, scans the email, and automatically collects the data. So if you are not using the same format, the system will will not take the data. So again, it is considered as not submitted, as your details will not be available in the database, and again it will create a space, a gap where you might not get certificate. So don't take it light, don't take it easily. And later on, at the end of the day, you are the one who are going to, pay for it, or by not following the instructions, because at the end of the day, you will not get the certificate. So strictly follow the instructions which are given, because there is no payment involved. Don't take it lightly. Time is money. Remember always, whether it's your time or it's our time is always money. We have to respect each other's time. So anyway, you are attending, anyway, we are doing. So let's do it with a discipline and with a time conscious, so that both of us can complete all the things in time. So thank you once again, everyone. So before leaving, you can fill up the feedback form in the polls, which has been raised in the form of polls. And as already informed, no queries shall be entertained regarding certificates on calls or WhatsApp. All requests shall be through email in the specified format, because time and again I am telling, the system will automatically read from the email only if the email is in given format. That's why we have given formats for everything. Only if everything, the data is in the given format, the system will collect and process. If you're not following format, that is considered as not a valid request, so that will not be processed. So no matter how many messages, how many emails you send, without using the format, there will be no use. That's why it's very important. See, doing somehow is not important. Doing in a right way, that will only yield results. So let's ensure that we are doing it rightly, correctly, so that we get proper results. So thank you everyone once again. Before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.